Hey y'all. Hey friends, back again. I was tagged by my friend in the United Kingdom, and forgive me if I pronounce this wrong, that his channel name is Wildy Orns. Not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. You got to remember I'm from the South. But anyway, I was tagged. Wildy Orns is Old English for wilderness. He's got a wilderness outdoors bushcraft type channel. Check him out if you get a chance. Anyway, he tagged me for shelter and fire in the rain. And actually, it said heavy rain. So I'm sorry, forgive me again, but there's just no rain. Me and Nick, we go and we try to film when we can. And it was supposed to rain today, but it just didn't rain. But I'm gonna go through all the steps of the things. And he also said he was laughing and kidding around and wondering about what I was gonna do. He thought I'd come up with something crazy like I always do. Well, actually, I've got 2 shelters, and I'm gonna try to do them. And I'm just gonna go through the steps of what I do when I'm in the rain, because I noticed a lot of the people that was doing these was putting up a tarp roof and sitting under it, and that's fine for if it's just raining and you just want to get out of a light drizzle. But if it's a really heavy rain, and I've been places before when everywhere you look the ground was a ½ inch to 1 inch deep in water, and you just can't sit on the ground then. And there's times that if you're 2 or 3 days hike away from your truck or your car, and you don't want to get cold and wet, that's like a death sentence. And being wet is just miserable. So sometimes you want to stop and eat, sometimes you want to rest, sometimes you want to sleep. But you're just going to have to imagine it's raining. And I would normally be wearing my poncho like this, okay? But you may not can hear me when I turn to the side. Looks cool, don't it, Nick?
Yeah.
But I never wear a raincoat. I always wear a poncho. I wear a poncho and I cover up my backpack, okay? And I have my stuff right here where I can get at it. And I'll carry my rope like here, not on my pack. So anyway, sometimes it pulls through. But anyway, there's 2 shelters. One of them, if you can find a fallen tree, I have a way of doing that. And another one involves just 2 big trees. Or if I find 3 small trees, I might could do it with it. I'm not real sure. We'll just have to see. But I'm gonna try to do both of them. I got a fallen tree right here. So let's walk around here to the side and get started on this. All right, let's say that I walked up on this situation right here. I'm gonna act like I got my hood on, okay? Anyway, I'm gonna walk up on this situation here, and I got a down tree, okay? That's great. Now remember, everything's wet. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be under my poncho. I'm gonna reach to the side here, and I'm gonna pull off my rope. Okay. All right, now I've got my rope out. So what I'm going to do is I have chosen a fallen tree, and then I got little trees around here. Okay. Pull out a little bit of length of rope. Now remember, everything's wet, and this is getting wet too. But I'm going to reach out here. Okay. Something's already gotten tangled up right here. Okay, that's better. All right, there you go. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to tie off the first rope about head high, okay? And then I'm just going to grab the rope and I'm going to stretch it over to the other tree, okay? All right. There you go. About head high, okay? Now what I'm going to do is walk to the other tree. Go ahead and cut that off so that you can move around. All right, I got it tied off on that tree. Now I'm going to run over here to this tree. And this is, just like in real life, there's going to be stuff everywhere. It's not like in the backyard whenever we're practicing shelters. All right. And you just grab a hold of whatever tree that you can find. Can you kind of follow me now? Now, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take this rope and I'm gonna run back over there and I'm gonna run it back and forth until I'm out of rope. All right, now, as you can see what I have done, well, I tell you, Nick, if this was in the rain, it'd be a sloppy video, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Wouldn't be able to see much. All right, I got this thing wrapped around 3 trees here. And what I do, okay, you can see, got it good and tight around 3 trees. Now, what I do is I take the rest of my rope, okay, and I'll go up here, right above the tree, and I'll wrap it around one time, okay? And then I'm gonna come back. Where is this? See, like I said, this is real life stuff. Out in the woods, there's obstacles everywhere, and you got to learn to deal with it. All right. Now you wrap that around a few times, and then you come up here with what's left. Okay, and then you're going to wrap that around a few times. All right, let's run that in. All right, now let's get back to where we're acting like this is really happening. I got this on. All right, I've done all this in the rain and I'm into my poncho, okay? So what I'm gonna do now, I got this rope right here weaved between these trees and I got a wet tree right here, okay? So what I'm gonna do next, I may not be able to talk, but I'm gonna stand on the tree and go up between the ropes, spread out my poncho and drop down below it, okay? Got to balance. All right, spread the poncho out in the front. Try to spread it out in the back, which these trees may be in the way. All right. Now, here, let's move the camera over here. Okay, now, as you can see, I've got my shelter up. I got a roof over my head. I've put the ropes up, and I put the poncho up, okay? Now, something else that you do, the tree is wet, of course I'm leaning on it, but normally you're gonna be underneath here. Take your backpack off, okay? Take you a garbage bag or a piece of the tarp or plastic or whatever, and say I'm still under my roof right here, okay? Put that there. Take your garbage bag, because you don't want to sit on a wet log. Alright. And now you sit on it and you're under your shelter. Now the next thing you want to do is this hood. You're going to reach up in there and tie that hood into a knot. Okay? Now I didn't really make this thing high enough, and I probably should have put more rope on it looping across, but you get the idea of how to get out from underneath it if it's raining and you don't want to be on the ground. Okay, now I get into my pack right here. I hope you can hear me. I don't know if things are echoing under here or not. Okay, I get into my pack now, and it's the age-old question, what do you do for firewood? You're sitting on firewood. You didn't think I was gonna go there, did you, Nick?
No.
Well, anyway, this tree, it's old, it's rotten, it's dead. You're not gonna hurt a thing.
I say you can get lumber from that log right there.
Oh, no. Remember, it's raining, Nick. Everything is wet. Okay, so what you do now, you're under your little roof here. So you just start cutting on the tree in front of you. Alright, and everything that you cut off, you save right here. All these little pieces of wood, everything that you cut off, you save. Because it ain't like you can just catch it on fire right on the tree. You gotta have a little bit of airspace. Alright? So what I'm gonna do, now the top of this log is wet, but when you get down into it, you got some good firewood. And it's amazing what kind of fire that you can have with this. And the cool thing is once you get it going, it can burn down in. This is not an overnight shelter. This is just for like if you want to stop and rest and eat a little bit. Okay? So cut that off while I finish chopping this, and then I'll show you what it should look like when I'm done. Now something else here, if you'll notice this bow will collect water. So what you want to do is you can either cut branches or vines ahead of time. I cut them off this tree while I was sitting here. But what you want to do with these, you can put these up in the top of the roof to help get rid of the bow. Alright, put them up and they'll kind of help support things. Now actually that rope needs to be, Nick, aim it down here. That rope up there actually needs to be a little bit tighter, but you get the idea. So anyway, all right, now when you get this down here, you get dug down to that right there. You got a bunch of dry wood right here, and you got a spot for your fire. Okay, now here comes kind of a neat part. A friend of mine not long ago was talking about dryer lint. That fell out. Anyway, a friend of mine was talking about dryer lint, and it got me to remembering about what I call my emergency pillow. Okay, now my emergency pillow, I don't think I ever showed it before, but basically what it is I went and I bought the most bright, obnoxious yellow color that I could find. And I sewed it together, and I sewed it into a zipper shape. Okay? Now the reason I call it an emergency pillow is because it can be used for emergencies. First and foremost, it's a pillow where you can, you sleep with it, put your head on it. Another thing you can do with it is, due to the obnoxious color, you can cut it open or tear it open and use it as a signal device for means of rescue. Okay? Another thing is, if you just happen to have a really bad wound, bleeding, just grab that thing and put it on it and hold it on it and don't let go. Maybe even wrap it up with paracord. The other part about it is, that's cool, it is actually stuffed with dryer lint. Kind of gets hung up in the zipper sometimes, but the entire pillow is nothing but dryer lint. Isn't that neat? All you need, nice and dry tender. Because sometimes you just don't feel like running around trying to get a natural tender when it's wet. Gotta be kind of careful because the zipper gets clogged up. Okay? Alright, but basically, I gotta put that behind me right there. See, it's kind of hard to just show all this. It's just kind of a mock run through. But what you do then is you just cover the dryer lint right here. Yep. You don't want to drop none on the wet ground. Okay. Sprinkle a few chips on. Okay. And something else that you may want to do, you may want to do a little bit of batoning. I'm not going to waste a bunch of time doing this, but you may want to shave some of these off. I'm not going to go through this whole ordeal of it. Or you may can just pick sticks up. Let's see. Yeah, like that. Now that's a good way of getting cut. Probably what I'll do is do them with an axe. What you want to do is baton up into a bunch of little small pieces. That way you can have something to lay over the fire. And then all you got to do then is you just light it up.
And watch it go in flames.
There it goes. And see, as it's starting to flame up, then you're going to hold all this dry wood over it. And you got to get a few pieces going. And you want to put some of these smaller pieces in here while you're doing this. Okay?
Ooh, smells from here.
Yep, and see you got a little bit extra right here. And then you can just use whatever preferred method of cooking that you want to do. You have your neat little fire right here. And so you'll get all this wood to going right here. Be nice and dry. You got a whole pillowcase full of dryer lint in case you can't get it going. So that's basically it for this shelter. We're going to move on to the next location, and I'll show you the next rain shelter. Alright, now something else that I noticed, we're looking for our next location to do the other shelter, but I couldn't help but film this. This is perfect right here because, you know, not everybody carries rope. I always carry rope, but this is actually less trouble to do. And that's if you're lucky enough to find a tree that's down, and show it up here on this root base right here. See? Not only did it knock a tree down, but look, it took another tree out with it. So this is fantastic. This is ideal right here. So what you could do in this case, you don't even need no rope. You just kind of trim off all this little stuff right here for whatever is up on top. Then, okay, now remember, it's raining. Nick, can you make a sound like rain?
Drip.
Drip. Okay,
Drip.
that's real good. All right, now, remember it's in the
Drip.
rain. The other thing you can do, you got this tree
Drip.
right up here. You just
Drip.
simply stand up.
Drip. Drip, drop, drip, drop, drip, drop, drip, drop. Okay, now it's pouring.
And so you just simply stand up, and here you are. You've got your little roof right here. You got your little roof right here, and you can take your backpack and set your backpack right here and do whatever you need to do while you're sitting under here. And if you was tough enough, you might even could just huddle up under here, cover up with a wool blanket, and spend the night just like this. See? All right, let's move on to find the good trees for the other shelter. All right, now, we waited a couple hours to see if it would rain. No, it didn't rain. It was supposed to, but it didn't. So I'm still wearing this stuff even though it's not raining, okay? Nick, more simulated rain?
Drip.
Okay, good.
Drip. Drop.
All right,
drip,
now,
drop,
as usual, I got
drop,
all my gear. I got my
drop,
backpack.
drip,
I got everything
drop.
under my poncho, okay, because it's raining. All right? Now, first thing I'm going to need is I need a small green sapling, okay? Here's one right there. Man, I never realized how rough it is chopping in a poncho, but it's part of the rain shelter. All right, we got this sapling right here now, and what we're looking for is we're looking for two big trees pretty close together, okay? I found two trees right here, but they're not really big enough that I think I can make it work. So you need the green sapling, okay? You throw it, well, I'm gonna cut it off. Let's see. I'm gonna cut it off right here, okay? And then I'm gonna cut it into two, like that. All right, because I'm gonna need them in a minute. I'm gonna need these in a minute. I didn't bother sticking that in the ground. Let's see. Wasting time fooling around with that. There you go. All right, I'm gonna need them too right there. This old rotten tree here, I gotta knock it down. That was easy. All right. There's plenty of stuff around here laying on the ground you could burn, but everything's wet. Remember, it's raining. All right, now what I'm gonna do now, I didn't show you before because I had it rigged up different, but my rope is normally connected. Here, hand me that rope down there at the bottom. I want to show them something. Normally, whenever I'm carrying it on my pack, I'll carry it like this with some Fastex buckles. when it's on my back of my pack. But anytime I'm wearing a poncho and I know it may be raining, I carry it from my belt loop like this right here. And that way all I can do is, on paracord, I just undo that and pull it out. And then I got this back right here that I can put on here. Okay. I'll clip that somewhere. I'll just put it in my pocket. So anyway, now what you do now with this is you're going to make several wraps around these trees. Alright. I'm going to start out. Like I say, this really needs to be wider. Okay. But what you want to do is you want to wrap it off right here. So probably waist high. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you the wraps around these trees, and then we'll cut the camera back on. All right, now what I've done here, I can tell now these trees are not wide enough for doing this shelter. They need to be a lot bigger, but the spacing is just right. But basically, instead of him filming me running around and around these trees here, then what I've done is I did loops around the first tree, and then I did 2 parallels on the bottom, and then I wrapped my way up to the top till I got here, and then I did 2 parallels at the top. Okay, came back around the tree one time over here, and then I came out and I started looping for strength, tying the top to the bottom right here. Okay, and I did that 3 times until I got to here, and then I just started looping across the bottom. Okay, now normally what I'll do is I'll do the same thing that I always did before. Okay, where I'll get under there, I'll get in there, and I'll lower out the poncho. And while I'm under there, I'll take the backpack off and I'll set the backpack in here and set it down. But these trees just ain't wide enough, and we kind of ran out of time, couldn't find any others. But anyway, before you do that, what you got to do, let's see if I can baton these pieces of wood. Now remember, everything is wet right here, so what I'm going to try to do, these 2 pieces of wood that I got the first time, you got to baton them flat. Okay? Alright. And what you're going to do is you're going to set them right there. They're not batoned that good. This is going to be a doozy right here. I guess I'll try to beat it against the tree. That, or if I can find a rock. Let's see if I can beat it against the tree right here.
Well, here's a rock.
Well, no, I don't want to beat on my blade with a rock. Okay, this is working. Alright, you want to baton this. Alright, now what you got now is you got 4 flat pieces of wood. Probably wouldn't hurt to have a little bit more. Alright. Alright, you got 4 flat pieces of wood right there. Okay. Now what you want to do, you want to get a little bit of ground. Let's get some right here where this grass is. If you get some with grass, it'll hold it together a little bit better. There may be rocks under here. Yeah, I think there is. Yep, there's a rock. So what you want to do is you want to cover this with dirt. I see that ain't working. That's not good. Let me find some, let's go over here and see. There's some. Alright, now, you want to cover that right there with dirt, okay? Now what you're going to do, you're going to cover this, your shelter,
you're going to cover your shelter with your poncho, okay? Now normally, like I say, you take your backpack and you put it inside there, but there's just not room for it, okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take it off and set it on the ground. Now I know I said that's something that you don't normally do. Alright. Now let's move that camera around over in here so I can get inside here.
One and a half.
Can you get in there? It's a good thing it ain't really raining. Okay, let's just pull this back a little bit so that you can see. Now you want to shove this all the way against that tree right there while you're sitting down. See how narrow this is? Alright, now you can sit in here and see you're completely covered up. Okay? Now this definitely is too narrow. I wished I hadn't even started here, but you know, I'm in a hurry for time and I just got to get it done. Alright, so what you do now, yeah, I guess you can just picture that this is up higher. This is not a good place to do this. Alright, so what you do now is you pull out all this stuff. Okay, normally what I do is I pull everything out of my backpack before I've sat down. And another thing, I don't do this very often. It's kind of hard to judge this roof right here. It needs to be up a little bit higher. Well, actually, this sags down a little bit more because of those loops. But anyway, you take everything out of your backpack and you hang it up there, okay? That way you got everything where you can get at it, okay? All right, now, I had to make some adjustments because absolutely nothing is working right on this video. Because this is one of them kind of deals to where this shelter works in just the perfect location. And usually the dirt's not this loose. So I had to add some extra pieces of wood. And like I said, normally there's wider trees, but they're just, I couldn't find them in this area. I mean, usually they're everywhere. And another thing I did is I added a stick up here, see, to widen the shelter out, okay? Now, because like I say, normally you got to have that stick because when you got a little fire here for cooking, drag that forward and you can see it widens everything out and makes it to where you won't be on that. But you know, it's not raining and I'm trying to make a video, so let's just leave it at that. And I'll show you another real quick thing, real cool too. Everybody says, well, I've always been told that the only water that you don't purify is rainwater. So something else you can do is instead of tying this thing off, let's put that up there. Instead of tying this thing off right here, what you do is these little, if your poncho has got places for carabiners, let me pull this out right here. If your poncho's got place for carabiners, then use the carabiners. And if not, you remember I told you about these little clips? These little clips are pretty nice because you can clip things. But what you want to do is you want to try to catch water with your poncho. And what you do is down here, instead of tying it off, see down here on the bottom, Nick? What you want to do is you want to clip a cup to it. See? It's a dual purpose. Because not only will that hold it down, put one on each side, pull that lid off. See right here. I'll put that on that side. See, that's automatically pulling it over. You got to put one on both sides. Okay? So you clip a pot over on that side. Alright. And see what you do right there now. And see, you got that right there. Are you getting that on camera? Okay, see on either side of it, what it'll do is the rain will wind up catching in there and give you just a little bit of extra water, and you're holding down your poncho. Okay? Now, I wished I could have found a better tree. And see, another thing you can do is you can take your cup and you can weigh down your cup too. So, have that on there and that'll help weigh down. Alright, now as far as the fire goes, And see, usually all this stuff is hanging from the roof up here, but it's not high enough. I didn't make it high enough. Because you know, usually this shelter is in a very ugly situation, and it's not meant to be pretty. But anyway, okay, now, and what I do right here is I got a big old pile of dirt, and you want to try to find dirt that's held together just a little bit better, okay? And you put your little canteen stove on it right there, okay? And usually when this is wider, you're sitting on your backpack and you're a lot more comfortable. And let's see right here in this. Okay, normally what I will do is I'll bring the wax cotton balls, and I'll use them as like a last resort. And or maybe that thing called the Amazing Cotton Ball. Ed at Sousaville Outdoors, he sent me some, and sometimes I'll use them. But sometimes I like to carry with me a little bit of nature's materials, which is some fat wood. If you find an old stump and get you some fat wood, that's some good stuff. Alright, so what you want to do here, put you in some wood. Now this wood right here is going to be wet, okay? Which is really no big deal if you've got enough pieces of fat wood. Okay, I'm going to lay this down on the ground. Put this right here. Alright, then you lift the stove up, move it back. Find your fat wood. Lay your fat wood on top. I hope it'll light. Alright, get out your striker. See if we can light this. And the cool thing about that is that fat wood is literally like gas. See, look at that, first strike. This stuff's incredible. And all you do is you just sit right here and you let that burn. You want to kind of level that up a little bit so that you can put your water on it, and you put your canteen on it. And you're going to be putting some of these wet pieces all around that. Now, I know these are dry, and sometimes what I'll do is, another thing I'll do is I'll go around and I'll pick up pieces off the ground and I'll set them on there. But anyway, that's pretty much it. Now, like I say, if this was raining, if it was actually raining, you can see because of the stick, I would have this all the way up here. Here, move that camera around that way a little bit, Nick. See, I would have this up here, and this would be completely protected right here from the rain. And then I could have a little fire right here. And see, and then once I get the fire going, pull this out. Like I say, normally this stuff here, it's all hanging from the roof, you know, where I can get at it. And then I just put my canteen right here, heat up some food. See, no big deal. Now, another thing you can do that's actually safer is you can have rocks right here. You know what? So anyway, let me move this back because it's not actually raining. Now, I'm not going to tag anybody on this one. So, if you want to do a video of shelter and fire in the rain, do one, send it to this as a response, and I'll put your channel name in the description box. So, but I really wished I could have done a better job on this shelter, but everywhere we went, it's about 3 feet deep in poison ivy, and we've seen rattlesnakes everywhere. And we're just running out of time. We just had to film something. All right, dudes. We'll see you next time.